Well, one state that is vigorously opposing vaccine mandates is Florida. In fact, Governor Ron DeSantis is challenging President Biden's vaccine mandates placed on employers in his state. Florida State Senator Manny Diaz Jr. leads a health care committee in Florida's legislature and supports the governor's positions, and he joins us now. Senator, great to see you. Thank you for being here. Where do the president's vaccine mandates affect workers in Florida, and what industries?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. And absolutely, it would affect us across the board, from public sector entities to our tourism industries to restaurants to healthcare. And we're just not going to have it. The governor has been very clear. We're going to challenge that. In fact, we're drumming up some legislation to counter any of those federal mandates and let the clash happen in court. But we are going to protect Florida residents, and we're going to keep the back of Ron DeSantis.
Now, Senator, we've been talking about police departments, and of course that's critical to public safety, but also hospitals. We have a situation in New York where, because of the vaccine mandates, enough nurses and nurses' assistants have left, and technicians as well, to cause problems. It's also happening in the state of Washington, it's happening in Oregon. Are there any hospitals in Florida where federal mandates do apply?
We haven't seen that yet, but we're expecting to have an issue with that soon. Again, and what does that tell you when these healthcare workers, a lot of them may have already been infected with COVID, have decided they don't want to take this vaccine, they want to continue to work, they want to continue to see their patients, and instead, no matter what, this federal government wants to overreach, this White House wants to overreach, no matter how it affects Americans. It's absurd what's going on, and here in Florida, we're just not going to stand for it.
What about schools?
Same thing with schools. Our schools are open. The majority of our school districts are mask optional. We have a couple of school districts who have challenged that executive order and law, and that's being hashed out in court. But so far, the court has been on the side of the governor's stance that all parents should have the decision of whether they mask their students or not. So most of our districts are doing that. But our schools are open. Our kids are in school, and we continue to go forward with that.
Now, do you expect to take your case to the highest court, to the Supreme Court?
I would expect that our governor and our attorney general prosecute this case to the maximum level, and that would be the Supreme Court. We do not believe that the federal government has the right to encroach on our private businesses and our citizens here in the state of Florida. And so any attempt to do that is an overreach, and we believe the court would rule on our side.
Now, Senator, let's talk about the science for a second, because this administration is always talking about how they follow the science, and they criticized the last administration for what they said was not doing so. There's some very disturbing information coming forth from the CDC itself. This is government statistics, government data. In just 1 week, the number of COVID breakthrough cases, deaths from breakthrough cases in people who have been fully vaccinated, has gone up 561 deaths to 7,178. That's an enormous increase. These are folks, by the way, we should mention, who President Biden said just in July would never go to the hospital and certainly never die as a result of COVID. Well, we're seeing there are thousands of deaths. So if you're fully vaccinated and can still be hospitalized and die and pass on COVID, why the focus on vaccine mandates?
Well, you're absolutely right. There should not be a mandate. The vaccine is one source of mitigation for this virus, and it's designed to try to protect the person that takes the vaccine to have lesser symptoms. But in Florida, our governor, Ron DeSantis, prioritized our most vulnerable with the vaccine when it first rolled out against the recommendation of the CDC. And then when monoclonals became available, monoclonal treatments, we have 24 sites. Since those sites have been open, our positivity rate went down 80% in the cases in Florida.
Yeah.
And yet doing that we know works, the federal government, the White House, the president himself have been trying to ration those treatments, where we know in Florida the governor's made the right decision, and it has saved lives over and over again.
Well, you brought me to it, and full disclosure, I actually had COVID, had the Regeneron antibody treatment, was miraculously free of symptoms within 24 hours. I mean, this stuff works incredible, but there have been complaints by folks in Florida, also by folks in Georgia, that when the federal government took over the distribution of this whole process of the monoclonal antibody treatment, it's Regeneron, Eli Lilly, and a couple of other companies, that the distribution in Florida and Georgia and other red states has gone down. Is there any way to quantify that? Because that's a political charge that the federal government is limiting antibody treatment that is tremendously successful.
Well, unfortunately, the President Biden's White House decided that they were going to ration these because it wasn't their idea. Governor Ron DeSantis took the lead. Like I said, opened 24 sites. At its peak, we served over 130,000 doses of that to folks who were infected with COVID or exposed to COVID. And they started to ration. Unfortunately, the positivity rate or the number of cases in the state started to dwindle. And while they have lessened the number of doses that we've had, the state has been able to purchase, the governor has been able to purchase on his own from GlaxoSmithKline, and also continue to distribute these doses throughout these sites. So we've been able to meet the need. But how absurd is it that the White House would try to ration a product, a pharmaceutical, a therapeutic that is working and saving lives here in Florida just because it wasn't his idea, clearly political.
But just to put a final point on it, there is no shortage of that serum right now in Florida because you've gone to other sources to get it.
Combination of the governor went to other sources to get it, and the number of cases have come down dramatically since we've been using it. And so it just so happens that we have enough doses now, but doesn't change the intent they had, which was to ration this just because it was Governor DeSantis. Let's put it clearly.
Senator Diaz, thank you very much for being here. Appreciate it. Best of luck to you, sir.